Hello, hello. Ah, my mic wasn't coming through. I think it's coming through now.
Hello, hello.
It's another Tuesday. That's what I just said, but I forgot to turn on my mic. Oh, Alex, we don't have visuals on Alex.
Ah,
There we are. Welcome in. Oh, how are you doing, Alex?
yeah. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
It's been a busy month, really, and I see it's the last day of February, isn't it? That's a crazy thought.
Oh god, it
I'm
is.
kind of.
Ugh.
I usually with February, I think of the winter. I really like the beginning of winter because it's a novelty, and then usually by February, it's like you're a bit done with it. Um, but and I always think, well, on the bright side, February is only 28 days, usually. But this month, I've been wishing that February had 3 more days to go, but that's okay. It's the first February. I think the time flies, doesn't it, when you're hoping that it doesn't. And that's the trick.
Yeah. It's always the opposite of what you want.
Yeah. That's the trick. Are there any activities where you're ever... Remember, I used to have when I was a kid, I had a list of games in my head, and I was like, these games, if you're playing for what feels like an hour, it's actually been 5 hours. And I was like, but there's some games where it feels like you've been playing for an hour and you've been playing for an hour. And I remember having this and it was just a good way of gauging entertainment value per minute, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what those games were.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
There are certain video games where you'd be like, I know that you'd have to consciously go, I'm gonna feel like 10 minutes has passed, and I know that I will have been playing for an hour, so I've just got to be conscious of that. Otherwise, I will sit here all day.
It's those games. I remember. I had a Dota 2 phase. This was 10 years ago now, and you kind of forget because the game itself lasts up to an hour, rarely longer than an hour. Usually between, I'd say on average 50 minutes, right? Which is a long time to be playing one game of something. But then, and you kind of oh, well, I've got an hour to spare, so I'll just hop in. But then you kind of forget there's you got to rally your friends, you got to find a match, you got to do the picking phase, and really you're sort of you're losing a good hour and a half of your day. So it's those extra little add-ons, I guess, that just that's what eats it away.
Very true. I used to always find that, especially with Animal Crossing, and a lot of kind of cozy games, because a lot of the time you're doing quite mundane tasks, so you're thinking, well, it can't take me that long to collect all those twigs, and you're like, oh, it has.
But it's kind of it's the kind of game where you switch off, I suppose, isn't it? So it kind of it's okay. Whereas there's games where you're sort of you're committing, picking up twigs. You can what do they call the different parts of your brain? There's the mode 1 and mode 2. Mode 1 is you're actively thinking, and then I can't remember which way around it is, and then mode 2 is I'm sure you can imagine. Mode 2 is your sort of background.
Yeah.
And there's no science behind any of this. Just descriptive. But and I think picking up twigs, you can kind of just shut your brain off, pick up twigs,
Yeah.
But there's those games. Sometimes you have a day at work and you just feel more exhausted than usual. I think it's just it's that sort of mental load, isn't it? And some games I feel you walk away feeling a bit you've been doing a little bit too much thinking. Clara Forte in YouTube chat. One game that I lost many hours to was Wakfu, a French MMORPG. You know what? I did play Wakfu. But not for. It had wasn't there a game? There were 2 games, weren't there? There was Wakfu and there was something else. I swear they were the same game, but maybe one came. It was a spiritual successor. I can't remember which one I played. I'm
still googling Wakfu because I can't figure out if I know this.
Dofus, that's it. I'm sure I think I played Dofus, but I didn't play much Wakfu. I remember all the characters were slightly. I think in the end, I played as the grumpy old man or something. But I didn't get very far. I think it was it was turn based, right? It was a bit because I used to waste a lot of hours as a kid playing Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it had a bit of that going on. It was a funny old game, I think. I mean, again, I didn't spend enough time in it. I used to play a game called... I can't remember, but it was like Worms. Did you ever play Worms, Alex?
Oh my god, I loved Worms.
Yeah.
I could waste so much time in Worms.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Worms, but it was like an MMO version of Worms. So, but it was like a
Oh
cute little.
wow.
Everyone was a cute little, and you had your own little car. But it was this huge map, and you'd have about
Oh.
64 people in a map, and everyone was this cute little character in a cute little, and you get like a frog car or a helicopter or something, and but you'd have to take turns, and oh my word, that would just you do your turn, and then you'd have to wait an hour for it to cycle through 64 other people. I can't remember what it was called.
So a combat in D&D.
Yeah, similar, yeah. Was it called Gunbound? Is what's in my head. Oh, it was Gunbound. Yeah. There was probably a summer where I played a bit too much of that when I was maybe like 11 or something. Yeah, it was probably around that age, maybe 13. I don't know. I wonder if it's still got a following. I suppose it's the kind of game. Sorry, you go. Oh, what were you saying?
I'm going to take it on a tangent of a game I played.
Yeah.
Have you played? Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. It was like Mini Cooper World or something like that, where you would just play as a car, like a sentient car, and drive around. What's it called?
Definitely not.
Does it ring any bells?
I always, as a kid, I would never go for games where you like played as a car. Like I liked the fact in Gunbound was that you had a character in a car. I kind of liked that, and you could see the character, so you could kind of customize your character. And the car itself was usually like a big frog or something. And I kind of liked that. Yeah, I kind of struggle with even games like Destiny, where you're sort of playing as a faceless robot. I've always had a bit of trouble with.
Yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, I don't remember Mini Cooper World. I googled that and nothing came up, so I've got a hunch it might not have been called Mini Cooper World.
I can't remember what it's called.
But I could be wrong.
Which is very upsetting. I'm gonna have to Google
Was it like a mini clip thing? Was it like a cool maths games?
Oh, I think my camera may have just died.
Oh, I think it's lagging behind. But I think
Oh no.
I think we're there.
Is this Wi-Fi problems? Oh no.
I think we got slow-mo Alex.
This is fantastic. I see no issues with this.
You could
I'm
try
gonna turn the camera for 1 second. I believe
try a little refresh maybe.
Yeah. What is going on? This is what happens when you try something new.
Try something new.
Always play it safe.
I've got one of those.
I'm gonna have to find out.
One of those power line connectors that like goes through your house. I think those are worth picking up. I think the streams were a bit rocky when I started. If anyone can remember, I always think about that first stream where it was like, actually it wasn't as hot as that day. We had that day in the UK, didn't we, where it was like, well, it reached 40, and I don't think it wasn't that hot, but it was like the hottest day of 2021 or something.
Gosh, last summer was terrifying.
Yeah, it had that. It's the first ever summer where I was like, yeah, closing windows to prevent heat getting in. I think in the UK we're not used to that. It's usually warmer in the house than outside. Usually. But I got myself an outdoor thermometer. I haven't been able to mount it yet, but I'm curious to. Although I remember that 40-degree thing, people were like taking pictures of their outdoor thermometer like in the sun and being like, look, it's 60 degrees C, and it's like, oh, not quite. I think the Met Office is always probably gonna have more reliable information. But I think getting that minute to minute. I don't know how often like the Met Office updates their temperatures, or if they're sort of always forecasts. I'm not sure. I don't know. Can you get like the the absolute. This is the temperature right now.
I mean, I imagine it would be very difficult if it's, you know.
You think?
I feel like everywhere's temperature is slightly different, isn't it?
Must be. But how different?
Okay, we're reconnecting this camera.
Ooh. Hello, Chris. Sorry, I forgot.
I'm reconnecting it and then.
Okay.
I'll get back in.
Oh, we're going for the old. Turn it off and off again.
Pretty much. Anyway, what are you working on today? We haven't actually established that yet.
Well, I'm gonna go for. I'm trying to draw some dresses because there's not that many dresses in the game. And they've sort of existed in the game's code and the game's databases, but haven't quite had the chance to get them in as artwork. I'd quite like to do sort of like a floral pattern. Not sure I've done a. Not sure the best way to do that though, because you want it to be red. You know, you want people to look at it and then think, oh, that looks like flowers. I'm not sure I ever. Oh, welcome in, Slacks. I'm not sure I ever knew we were getting dresses, to be honest. Oh, I think you want to be able to run around your garden in a dress. I think that's got to be an option. I think my intention was always like sort of equal parts weird sort of things made of mushrooms and plants. Equal parts. Sort of dungarees and smocks and waders and, you know, practical items, and then equal parts flowery things. I think that's kind of my estimation.
Are you gonna make a dungaree dress?
Well, I was learning. Because I didn't know the word for this. Because I asked Rachel, what do you call like a dress with, if this is what you mean, with I guess kind of like you'd have straps and the buckles on your collar. But then it sort of flares at the bottom like a dress, and that's a pinafore, I believe.
Oh.
So I've got.
I didn't know that.
There's a number of pinafores in the game, at least in the databases. But then I was looking into their history, and it's quite interesting because it's like, I think a pinafore originally was an apron that you wore over your expensive dress, so that when you were cooking, you know, you wouldn't get your dress messy. But I think nowadays it's a bit like what you're saying. It's a bit like a it's like a dungaree dress, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm quite keen to name things in the game so that they have more historical names. But I think things still go by as pinafore. I'm not sure.
I think so. I've definitely seen people selling pinafores. I think I own a pinafore on the way.
Oh, there you go.
Back to charity.
And I'm not sure, like, what we could do on now.
I think a frog pinafore would be
A frog
nice.
pinafore? Where would the frog come in?
Oh, have you not seen? Oh, I'm gonna send you an image of a frog pinafore because they're fantastic. They're just frog designs, I guess. I am also still trying to set up my camera. I will hopefully be back, but priority is frog pinafore.
Priority is frog pinafore. Oh, we have Alex in the is the other person talking, Slacks. But yeah, we're just trying to get visuals on Alex. We've got our
Yes, I've been lost.
got satellites scanning. Rachel's gone. Sorry, I'm mixing up names. Alex has gone Mac 10. We've lost visual. I remember I saw a thing about sort of terms that certain people knew, and particularly divided by gender, and it was lots of, I think, the things that typically male. Oh, it's like a frog. Oh, I see. So the here we go. Yeah. So is the frog? Oh, I see. So the frog are the buttons. We could do that, maybe. But yeah, I mean, we could do that quite easily, maybe.
I think it's cute, and I think Tabble would appreciate it.
Would he? I'm not sure. I've been writing some Tabble dialogue, and it's quite fun having him not be impressed by anything. But it's a good little, a good dinner party thing. It's that for people who identify as male and for people who identify as female, the different words that they know, versus sort of on a scale. And I think it particularly on one end was lots of fashion terms, essentially, which a bit like Pinafore, which and Rachel knew all of them. And there were a lot I'd never heard of. The one I got lots of. I'm not going to say the one I was least aligned with. The one I was least likely to get, but I did get, were espadrilles. I don't know if you know what an espadrille is, because that was apparently a lot of people don't know what an espadrille is.
Is that a type of shoe?
Yeah, because I think they were quite trendy. I had a lot of mates who used to wear espadrilles. But I didn't realize they're quite feminine shoes. But I think they sort of quite sold as quite masculine shoes. I think in the mid 20. I'm not sure what defines them in kind of the mid 2010s. Anyway, so I was quite proud I knew what an espadrille was. But I've been learning a lot about different fashion items and their names this month. As I've been.
Is that a focus at the moment?
Well, because I've been naming, and I'd be like naming something as kind of like an example. I'd be doing. Alex is back.
I think I'm back. How long I can stay without it getting broken again, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
I think it's already slightly out.
Oh,
Oh no, I think it might be okay. It caught up with itself. But like, for instance, I'd be like, because I have to describe the items. Every item in the game has a little description, and like, for instance, the frog eyes here. I mean, it's kind of where the straps attach, and I just don't know what would you call that. What do you call those? That point in the garment, you know. I still don't really know, to be honest. The internet is proving to be less and less useful. I feel like you Google things. Have you noticed Google's been getting just a lot worse? Is that just me?
not
I don't know.
particularly.
Like, what was I searching for the other day? It's just you always get these kind of weird articles. That's right. I had a load of different. I wanted to load the names of jumper or sweater patterns. So like Argyle or Fair Isle. And so I searched that, like, different sweater pattern names, and then you get these articles that are like, there's lots of different sweater patterns, and then it'll be like cotton wool sweater patterns, acrylic sweater patterns, or something, just sort of like stuff that's not really, but they've kind of just listed. Google shows what it makes it money, not what you want. Yeah, it feels like it's kind of going that way. But it's just kind of all these articles that use the right words that kind of get you to click on them, but they're actually like, it was like, that's right. It wasn't different types of patterns, but it would be like different types of sweaters, and you click on it, and it would be like big sweaters, little sweaters, pink sweaters, which just isn't terribly. I don't think those are types of sweaters. Those are like descriptors of particular sweaters. Which anyway, while I was making the garden path, wasn't terribly useful.
Oh. I'm out again. The power of the sweaters has defeated me.
I'm not sure whether to make this one the frog one. I suppose I could just... I think the thing is like a lot of games... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw like a... Maybe not for the pinafores. I probably will for this one, actually. Maybe I'll make this the one, the frog one, but then one can also use it as... Because I can make this kind of frog shaped. And then have it as a... as an alternative sort of frog option.
An alternative frog option.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, it's like a variant pattern. I like that.
I mean, it won't be. You'll have to. Oh, that wasn't where I was going for the color, but I like that a lot. I'm not going to give them heart. I think this is a little bit too cutesy. The heart cheeks. But I'll make it froggy enough.
It should be a frown. Just very upset frog. Just.
Oh, I don't know. I think for this one it's got to be a happy frog because of the way the eyes. I suppose I could. Oh, would you want to wear an angry frog? I'm not sure. I feel like you'd want it to be a happy frog. I think. I'm on the wrong layer. I'm thinking happy.
It has to be happy, really.
I kind of like because there's also a frog mask in the game that looks a bit like this. It's a happy frog. I quite like the idea that all the representations of frogs are quite sad, are quite happy, but then Tabble himself is quite sort of breaks the expectation. Although I think a grumpy frog kind of is a stereotype. I think I was falling into that when I designed him.
I was going to say, where did the idea for him to be so grumpy come from?
I think. I mean, his design goes back like 5 years ago now.
Wow.
I think. It's not the most. Again, it's just great. I think similar to. Oh, can I get it? Sparrow tagged me in, but with the. I mean, this is Tabble from the. From the. When was this? From 1814. I mean, I think I tweeted about that. I mean, I hadn't seen this. I hadn't seen that until I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. I think I got this one as a gift, but I think I saw they were selling it as a card in WH Smith's is where I first saw it. But I think they have it in the National Gallery. It's a Japanese frog they drew in the 19th century. But it just goes to show that I think the grumpy frog is a trope. So I'm sure I think pretty much all of the characters are fairly tropey. I think more of the newer ones. When I was blocking out the first characters, I just kind of wanted. I was kind of like, this is a game when you're in the woods. I think you want a bear, you want a toad, you want an old man. I think I got that far, and then I was like, and then I started working on the others. But I mean, the very first, Tabble was the first character in the game that could talk, and all he used to do was just say how much he loved rain, which is kind of what we played on that with the April Fools, didn't we? I was kind of invoking that. I don't know if anyone's seen the footage of walking up to Tabble. God, that was a different time when I was working on the game. I'd just gotten the dialogue. It was one of the first things I got in the game to work. I think there's that gif of you sort of that I did of the main character walking around with Augustus, where I just got. I mean, that's kind of something that the game's lost. Actually, the characters can't follow you around at the moment, but I'm hoping to add that back in. But he didn't have any intelligence. He wouldn't have avoided objects or something. He literally just followed the player. And then yeah, that gif of I just gotten Rain working. I had the inventory would open up, but I don't think it functioned. And I'd figured out how to get it so that you could press E on Tabble, and he would say some line about how much he loved Rain.
Oh.
And I remember feeling quite guilty because you put these things up, and I think with it's quite easy with game dev to kind of create something that looks like a game but isn't a game. I don't know if people realize that. Like when sometimes you see these like really cool looking trailers as a sort of a prototype, but the game isn't actually that functional because it's quite easy to kind of animate something that looks like you're, like an inventory, for instance. In that footage, I was able to kind of just get it so that you pushed a button and then something that looked like an inventory appeared above the character's head. And you could kind of create the illusion that, oh, I've got 2 inventory slots and one of them has an apple in it. And even then you see that and you're like, oh, an apple's an item in the game that I can go and get. So yeah, you can cheese it quite easily. And I felt guilty because a lot of people were like, wow, this looks like such a great game. And it was really just a walk up to Tabble and hit E simulator.
Sounds like a great game.
And he wasn't called Tabble back then. He was called Touchstone. No, Tellstone. Sorry, Tellstone. But then League of Legends created a mini game called Tellstones, and they'd registered the trademark for it.
I didn't realize that was why. I just thought it was a change of heart.
No, but I thought it's an opportunity to get an even better name. So Tellstone is so cute. I prefer to. I think over the years I've come to prefer Tabble. I think, I do like Tellstone as a name.
It's a nice name. It has a whimsy to it.
Yeah, it's basically me ripping off Touchstone from I accidentally said Touchstone from the Shakespeare play As You Like It, who's the comic relief clown.
Oh.
But I don't know why I went for Tell. I think it's just a nice word. But again, nothing to do with the frog. Oh, there's nothing more satisfying than drawing the smile or frown on a frog. But it takes a bit of... The whole game is how close can you draw it to the eyes. That's a pretty good one. That's a good one. I know there was a time it was really trendy. Does anyone remember like Astuf movie? It was kind of really trendy to draw characters basically with their mouths pretty much, because it makes them look kind of a bit silly. And there was definitely a trend to draw characters with sort of dots for eyes with their mouths really close to I mean, we kind of still do that with like the emoticon where you do the 2 little full stops and the underscore. Kind of that whole thing, a bit like this. Like, I don't know why we see that as a particular face. Then our brains kind of look at that and we see a face.
I like it. It's just such a good... I don't know, it somehow gives such a strong vibe of, like... I don't even know how to describe it. Just a feeling of being so done with someone. You're just like, yeah, this is it.
I wonder if you gave it to like a Victorian or a caveman or something, if they would read it the same, or if we've just been like conditioned to read that character in it. I'm not sure. May we never know.
Oh, that's such a happy smile. What a cutie.
Does it come with a... I quite like the... Yeah, maybe I'll give it... Maybe I'll give it a ribbon. Maybe in a... I could go with sort of a more... Maybe more blue. I
want to run around the garden in that 100%.
It's going to be a
It's
late
so
game,
nice.
a late game item that you have to grind 60 hours for. No, I'm only joking.
I'd do it. It's so cute.
I kind of don't know what the late game.
I like this.
Oh, you cut out a bit there.
Oh, I was gonna let you talk.
I'm not sure what the late game of the Garden Path really looks like. I've never gotten there myself. But like, I've planned it. Kind of all there.
Mm-hmm.
But, I have to restart my save so often because of changing up the game. I was thinking of doing like different grades of, like everything you harvest has a grade between like F and A, and they have different values. Because well, I need to do that eventually anyway, but I need a system. So there's a system currently where you can. The plan is to introduce that, but I just need the system of how it's, how you know certain things are different values, if that makes sense. So if you see, for instance, this froggy thing, and you're like, I really want this froggy thing. Like certain items you want accessible kind of for cheap, but then you kind of want to slowly raise the bar as to what you can and can't get, to sort of create incentives, I think. But yeah, I don't know. And there's some cool stars in the game that do some cool things, and they take a while to. Do you think it would be fun? I was talking to my brother about this. Do you think it would be fun?
The stars are so pretty.
The what's so pretty?
The stars.
Oh, the stars in the game. Yeah. Do you think it would be fun to do like a? I don't want the characters to have mobile phones, but do you think it would be, if the characters could kind of like, if a little thing popped up and a character could like give you something to do, but you don't have to be near them. I'm kind of toying with that as a mechanic.
Little tin cans.
Well, I'm kind of thinking of it just being. No, you're taking it too far, Alex.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that would be very whimsical. Imagine. Like in Grand Theft Auto 4, yes.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Well,
they
this is what,
talk with the
because
microphone.
my brother was like, you don't want to do that because, and he was like, he sat me down and he was like, he was like, in Cyberpunk, these random characters that you never see give you random quests or something. I've not played Cyberpunk, but he was describing it to me. And he was like, and it doesn't work because you never meet the characters and you don't form a bond with them or whatever. But I was explaining to him, no, I mean, like, you still have to see the character to give them the thing. But they just, like, ping you a little message and they're like, oh, could you make me a cup of tea? Or something, I don't know. Or could you get me a sprig of thyme? But I kind of was envisioning it as just kind of like a UI thing. But yeah, I guess it would be like GTA 4, I guess. I've not played it, but I'm aware that, yeah, when you're in, is it while you're in your car? They call you up on your mobile phone.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
But I definitely get the Cyberpunk criticism because I recently started playing it. The game has become unplayable because it just won't open, which is great.
Oh, right.
But it's that thing where you do get calls and you're like, I've never met you and I don't know why I should really care to do this side mission, but I'm also just like, oh well, I can go and shoot stuff, I'll do that. But there isn't any connection.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have extra things to do.
I guess this is it, isn't it? Sort of creating that sort of I'm sure there's a word, but sort of, yeah, I'm trying to think of the word. Like a backfill of content, I guess. Sort of, that if you run out of that main thing to do, you're kind of sort of always sort of have something in your mind that, oh, there's this to do as well. Yeah, and my,
Mhm.
my brother as well. Because we were doing some writing over the weekend, and he was like, yeah, he hates it when Tom Nook gets his mobile phone out. Um, which I don't know. I don't know if it. There's a point at which Tom Nook would have a mobile phone, right? There's a point at which, um, there's a point where technology feels um I don't know, like it would be cool. Like Tom Nook could maybe have like a rotary phone, right? That wouldn't seem weird, would it? But there's something about him pulling out an iPhone 7. I don't know what it is in the game. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Like would it, or a Nokia? If he pulled out a Nokia, would that feel weird? I don't know. Do you know what's better if Tom Nook had to pull out a phone? Maybe a pager from the 80s. Because Tom Nook, I don't know what decade
Mm.
is Tom Nook from. What does it feel like? Would Tom Nook have a pager? Maybe Tom Nook would.
Wow.
Maybe it's the
I
fact.
guess it depends on which Animal Crossing.
Yeah, because I don't think he had it in the earlier ones, did he? Just the new one. And they give you a phone, don't they? Is that what in the new one? You have a phone.
Hmm.
Um,
Like a Nook phone.
yeah, that's right, Nook phone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, could you not use a letter delivery system? I want it to feel like really snappy, like I kind of don't want to do this sort of fanfare of like, oh, a letter's arrived and now I'm opening the letter, and I just want it to be like, get me a sprig of thyme. Um,
So demanding.
I don't know, like it
That
just pops up and
time is
you can just ignore it, but it's like kind of like a ticker, It's like something that's it kind of gives you a my idea really is that I kind of want to create a sense that there's people in the garden that they're doing things around you. That's the sense I want to create.
Mhm.
And so it's almost not like a um I don't know. And I don't know what that I almost don't want to explain it. I just feel like you have this sense and characters can kind of just like ping in your UI. I'm not sure, I'll think about it.
Mhm. I think it would be nice.
Yeah. I think so.
I'm so pleased with this frog.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I mean, to be honest,
It's so good.
just to spoil the magic, I think drawing a frog is one of the, especially a frog like this. It's not. You can just crank them out, It's just two dots and a line, and you've immediately got a frog. I mean, this looks like a specific. Is this meant to be a? It looks like an Animal Crossing character, doesn't it? I feel like this looks like an Animal Crossing frog.
Mm.
Do they have the little I'm not sure what you call this mouth, but the one that kind of I don't know how you describe it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what you mean.
Use a hopping frog with a letter on its back. I think, like, there is the dove gives you the report on the new day. Although I'm thinking of working that. That might get replaced as well. A hopping frog is fun. You like that? I mean, there's so many cute ways you could get a letter, isn't there? Or like tin cans as well. It's a gold mine. How about Holly? UI based paper plane system. Like you hear a whoosh and you see a little paper plane. Again, that's a cute idea.
That's adorable.
I think what I want to do is I want to build it first, and then contextualize it. I think sometimes I get a little bit caught up in the do you know what I mean? I get too caught up in the in the little sort of the cutesy elements of it, and I want to make sure it's fun and it works. Let me contextualize it right now. But I'm hoping to push it in the update today. But the notifications, they're gone. They're vermouche. I decided I just deleted them from the game. I was like, no more. We've suffered long enough. Because I don't think anybody liked them. I think everyone accepted that they sort of served a purpose, but I don't think anyone liked them.
Which notifications are these?
So the little ones that appear in the corner and that sort of you're kind of aware you can get rid of, but even I forget to get rid of them, and they kind of build up, don't they, in that little corner? Yeah. but I'm really happy with the replacement. They did serve a purpose, yeah, but don't worry. The purpose is, I'm really happy with the replacement, which sort of falls into this. Sort of falls into this this letter system as well. It's kind of like a I could just show you guys. Maybe I'll do that. I think it will be in the update today, but it won't be. It's like just it's still a concept at the moment. So it kind of doesn't really work, but so yeah, the function isn't there yet, but it should be pretty quick. But I've been struggling with the UI a bit. UI is hard to design. It's a lot better than it used to be.
That doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah. I remember I was really happy with the design, and then we put out the very first demo, and there was so many comments about how bad the UI was.
Oh.
And I was just like, man, I put so much, but I think every single criticism was spot on, and I think it's taught me a lot about kind of just a lot about designing UI. Again, I think you kind of go for I was going for the cute thing, but sometimes, or not the cute thing, but I don't know. Hard to describe. But yeah, I should have been. I think the thing you mostly want to do with UI is kind of, you always want to. It's the user experience. It's the point for point. It's the kind of people going through things. You kind of want to imagine that. I mean, I'm no expert.
I guess it's also hard to sort of know how everyone's sort of brain works a little differently. They take in information kind of differently, so it's hard to find a something that kind of works for everyone and doesn't look too overwhelming.
Exactly, yeah. And even different cultures read UIs differently. You know, I think it's quite the way sort of Western minds read UI is quite different. So, you know, depending on how you read text and things left to right, and just kind of how you visualize things in front of you, it changes drastically from, you know, languages and cultures and things. And I suspect even it's just a slightly, you know, people with dyslexia, just for one example, you know, are going to read a screen differently. Is this? If I that show? Oh, cool. How hard is it to scale the UI for smaller screens like Switch and Steam Deck? That was part of the work I was doing this month. Was the UI actually places itself now? Oh, this might be a bit loud. Let me just change the time. But the UI actually like places itself now according to the screen size. It was just me literally putting it down and placing it. I mean, in Godot it's dead easy. You literally just you instead of 1 instead of 1.1, you scale it to like 1.2 or something. But there's a few things that might, you know, overlap and things when you do that. Wait, stage D. Oh, bear with me. Okay, we're diving in. Let's see if I can do that. Oh no. Here we go. Briefly on screen. We've even got Alex there, is in the garden. I don't know how well you can actually see the game, Alex, on my tiny little reference thing.
I can see it, alright.
Can you see? Okay.
It's fine.
I might even need to make it bigger for the stream. But we used to have the oh, can you see my mouse? We used to have the task tracker. So we had notifications down here, had the task tracker over here, and the UI opens from left to right over here. But now, we got the new tutorials as well. But now there's like this, the overview. So the overview has different tabs down here. And so, for instance, I can have now the errand tab open, and it gives me an overview of the errand tabs sort of while I'm running around. And then if I want to learn more, I can just pop that open. But I can now also change tabs while I'm out and about. And the idea is like different information. So, for instance, you get a notification saying, "Oh, a resident's joined your garden." That'll now come up in the in the social tab here. And then, so you can sort of flick between and get sort of the information that's relevant. And the tutorial tab down here will contextually provide you with how to do things that you're confronted with. So if you're like, oh, I've forgotten how to use something in my inventory, it should hopefully come up with the how to do something over there. But none of it works yet. It's just the errand one. But I'm working on it. I'm getting there. That's the idea. That's a lot cleaner. Yeah, I think so too. And I like that because some people, you don't always want the task tracker on screen. But now you can sort of, and it's sort of combined the overview, the notifications, and the task tracker all into one. So yeah, and I'm happy with that. I'm kind of not too happy with the way it looks at the moment. It looks a little bit. Oh, sorry, I've got Godot is right over there. Let's go back to the. But yeah, back to the frog.
Always be frogging.
Probably do. I think doing a froggy chair would probably be a bit too on the nose, but maybe we do need more frog items in the game. I'm not sure. I can't do froggy chair, can I?
That'd be so good, though.
I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they couldn't come after me. Could I subvert the theme of Froggy Chair somehow? I could post-ironically satirize Froggy Chair, and it'd be really clever, and everyone would be like, "Oh, that's really clever, Louis. The way it is Froggy Chair, but it's not, and the way you've clearly are aware of Froggy Chair, but are totally spinning it on its head." In a way, and now we totally have a new appreciation for Froggy Chair in its place in the gaming canon. What do you reckon? How would I do that?
I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure people will applaud it. But that is too much for my little TikTok brain.
No, I don't know either. That's a challenge.
Do you think Tabble would find that offensive? Or Worm? Worm is also our toad. Would they find a Froggy Chair offensive? Or quaint?
Worm exists purely to collect compost. So they after they've collected the compost, they cease to exist from the tangible world, and they immaterialize. And then when compost becomes newly available, their atomic structure gets realigned, and we once again are able to appreciate Worm. So I wouldn't worry too much about what Worm thinks.
That's very fair.
But Tabble, I think, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Tabble's a busy fella. He probably doesn't have time to worry about it. That'd be my hunch.
Will any of the NPCs be able to wear some of these clothing items? Like, you know how, obviously in Animal Crossing, when they designed it so that you could gift someone some clothes and they'll put it on. Do you think that's something that could be put Tabble in the froggy dress?
Tragically, no.
I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah, it's something that it's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, I can't. It's enough work drawing the different sprites for the different I've got to draw this froggy thing. It's all well and good me drawing it now, but I've also got to draw the front, the back. No, I've got to draw the back and the side. And so unfortunately, I think drawing it for every single configuration of, because I think in Animal Crossing they've got a head and they've all got the same body. I think, don't they? Maybe there's some taller and some shorter.
Yeah, I think they're all variations of the same design.
Yeah, and so I kind of, you kind of make that sacrifice, but at the same time you sort of like in exchange you get bad answer, Louis. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't and all the characters, I don't know. I mean, the player character has three. They have three versions. They've got the front, the sides, and the back. But NPCs all have just two. They've got the front and the back, but they're faced at slightly of an angle. So, which was essentially to save me time. So, they kind of stand, sort of like, is this clear? I use a bit more clear brush. So they kind of stand like this at a sort of a slight 90 degree. The classic sort of, yeah. You'd have to have so many versions of every cosmetic item. Well, exactly, yeah. So unfortunately, maybe one day. You know what a cool thing? If AI art, if I could ever get, I know AI art is controversial, but if I could get AI art to like draw me every different angle of my design of the froggy Pinafore, then I feel like that would be a good use of AI art. I feel like if it could save me time in that regard, then I feel like that would be okay. I think.
I think so. If it's your art, it's not stealing anything because you've given it permission to steal your work, which isn't stealing, is it? I don't think so.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I don't. Yeah, is there like a weird thing that once you submit the thing to the AI, the company gets the right to use it? I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd be too fussed about that, but it might be something to consider. AI would give frog dress like 70 fingers. Well, this is it as well. You probably have to generate it like 50 times and pick the one that looks vaguely the most like it. But maybe that would be quicker than actually drawing it. I don't know. It might be. Who knows? These are the questions.
They are. At least we have this froggy dress. This froggy dress is enough.
But yeah, I was writing sort of quests, errands, whatever you want to call them, for the game the other day, and I kind of wanted a quest for every single type of item in the game that the character requests. And yeah, I was struggling I was like, I want them to ask for like a dress, but they don't wear them because you can't, they're not wearing it for themselves. So I kind of needed reasons they would want items of clothing, but not necessarily because they want to wear them. Which was a bit of a challenge.
I want to give it as a gift.
Well, this is it, yeah. And we were in a bit of a. I'd written a quest and then I needed a break because I'd been writing for too long, and I had a cup of tea and I came back, sat down, and the very first line of the quest I'd written is, "I have a friend who lives out in the mountains," and I put my hands in my head. I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" The worst opening to a quest. I can't believe I thought that was okay.
I mean, if you've got a friend in the mountains,
you've got
to help them.
Yeah, you do.
Oh.
But yeah, I was going to be like, and they need a pair of dungarees. Who knows why? I thought that's not going to fly.
The real mystery is figuring out why they need dungarees. The whole quest to figure it out. Gardening?
Yeah, that could be it, yeah.
On the run? Are they eyes?
You have to spy on them. Yeah, those classic Oblivion quests where you have to like snoop on someone in the night. And they sort of awkwardly meet with someone from the Thieves Guild in a bush Be like one of those. But they're like doing something. What would you even do with a pair of dungarees? I don't know.
I mean, probably wear them.
Probably, yeah, they're just putting them on. Taking them off and putting them on.
Put them up on the wall. That's like a piece of art.
Yeah. But only at night. Take it down.
Only at night. You can only wear dungarees at night. It is the law. I also like to think you could make variations of the froggy dress for each character. I'm not suggesting you do that, but I like the thought that maybe there's like a little bear dress out there, or a little puffin. Oh, a puffin one would be very cute.
Puffin dress.
And that's not been done.
What at all? It's not. There's no.
I mean, I've seen froggy dresses and bear dresses.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Maybe not then.
Puffin is niche.
I'll search puffin dress. See what comes up.
If it's a fancy dress costume of a puffin, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mostly patterns of puffins. But of different
cute.
angles. I just saw the saddest kid in a puffin costume.
Oh.
Here it comes. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, it's here. Look at this fella. Oh, I just noticed that they're looking down.
Oh.
I kind of don't know why. I thought they were looking up at the camera. I think he's smiling though.
It just kind of looked like it.
It's kind of something slightly. I think it's the fact there's sort of hair coming out the eye holes. I think it doesn't. It looks a little bit unsettling.
I quite like it. I think unsettling is good.
Oh, my mum used to make me so many fancy dress costumes when I was that age. I went to my mum made me a gingerbread man
That's
outfit,
fantastic.
and then I got to the party, and the theme was, "What do you want to be when you're older?" And I came as a gingerbread, a piece of gingerbread. I think I'd just seen Shrek.
They have good lives.
They do, yeah. I think I'd just seen Shrek. And, everyone at school was saying, not the gumdrop buttons or something, I don't know. When you're like, I don't know how old I was. When did Shrek come out? It must have been like
2001? 2003? Sometime between 2001 and 2003.
So something like that. To be fair, there were mermaids there as well.
I mean,
I remember.
That's very valid.
So I feel like I could kind of get away with my gingerbread paids.
But gingerbread men do have good lives. They always have a nice house. That's like a prerequisite of the job.
Do they? Yeah. Do you have to live in a gingerbread house? Do you think?
Yeah. I think so. Otherwise, what's the point? I don't really know what else gingerbread men do.
No, what do they do day to day?
Last briefly.
They just exist in their gingerbread house.
Maybe they're just like gingerbread stay-at-home dads. Which sounds like a nice life.
Well, the gingerbread mum is out making bread.
The gingerbread making dough. Yeah.
Making dough. Yeah. I can see that.
Do you make gingerbread houses at Christmas?
It became a bit of a theme at our house that there were multiple times we tried to make a gingerbread with our mum, and it would go terribly but it was always kind of sometimes my mum watches these backs, but it was your fault, mum. It was always the wrong icing or something, or the wrong, we weren't given the right tools. There's kind of, I think we sort of all accepted failure. But I think because we did it once and it was really successful, But you do need to use a certain type of icing and a certain type of gingerbread. You can't really just go in willy-nilly with icing and gingerbread. But how about you? Have you? It's certainly a task.
I don't think I've ever actually made a gingerbread house ever, which is kind of sad.
I think if you polled people, I think it would be a minority of the population have made a gingerbread.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a big thing. Maybe I just happen to know the majority of people who would say yes on that.
It's a popular concept. We're aware that people do make them, but I think to actually make them, I mean, just thinking, like, I think, you know, a minority of people probably bake at all. So we're already into the, you know, minority, and then I think to do something sort of decorative, and it's quite a little project. I don't know. That'd be my hunch. I'd put it at. Or are we saying ever made a gingerbread house ever? I'd put it under 10%. That'd be my guess.
I will Google this. I'm now invested.
I do wonder.
We're gonna do it in the UK.
Chris, if your gingerbread house tasted bad, that means you did it right, because you were using construction grade gingerbread, which isn't meant to taste good. At least that's my understanding.
That's so strange. I've Googled like amount of people who make gingerbread houses UK, and the first thing that comes up is in the UK there are around 1.8 million single parents, and maybe gingerbread stay-at-home dad is just stay-at-home dad, because apparently that's the first thing that comes up when you Google gingerbread.
There we go. We were just talking about Google earlier, weren't we? There you go. Weird. It's not giving you what you want. Yeah, I think with Chris, for gingerbread, you meant to bake it longer than you usually would, and it's meant to be quite brittle and overbaked. So I've done a gingerbread house for Halloween. Oh, okay, sort of like a spooky one.
That's cute.
It became all sticky and melty and inedible. Oh, really? The gingerbread?
Oh.
Never done another gingerbread house since. Good idea for Halloween. Actually, you could do a spooky one with like a scary. Bro, literally, what is the point if you don't get to eat it? Because it looks pretty. They probably did eat it back then, but I think most people, you might as well just. I think looking good is more important than tasting good.
Mm-hmm.
I think. That's my motto. That's the Instagram motto.
Gingerbreadman Pinafore. I think that would also work.
Gingerbread pinafore.
It's so versatile.
A pinafore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make any design, put it with any clothing. It's just comfortable and good.
They're practical. They look good.
They do. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Here we go. We're going to defroggy the pinafore. I'll just check I've got the frog saved. There they are. Okay.
Nice. So did you say there are any other dresses currently in the game, or is it are they now being added?
I think even the one that does exist, which is this one? I think the artwork's a little bit old, so pardon if I find. This one. I think this one's in the game. But yeah. but there's not that many. Most of the items have been test items. Really, I haven't. A lot of the items that I've drawn aren't actually in the game, just to kind of keep things predictable. And then kind of once I know how things are going to be, then I can sort of more confidently, because you don't want to. I mean, the amount of times I've had to go through every single tree in the game and change something about them because I've changed the way trees work or something, for example. So. I think there's about 10 different, currently in the game, in the beta, there's about 10 different clothing. But I want there to be sort of, I don't know, what am I at? Probably a good few. Between 20 and 40, I guess. That's quite a big window. But I also want certain ones. I think eventually we're going to get the dye system working, which something like this will be dyeable. And so I think the way it's going to work is that I still haven't quite settled on it, but so there'll be items that are pre-dyed and that you can't dye. Then there'll also be just items that you can dye, which will be more expensive. That's the plan. So if you really want a sea green pinafore, you will be able to buy one, but then you could also get a pinafore that can be sort of, you can change its colour. I think that's the idea. But I flip-flop on.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And there's a lot of botanicals in the game that kind of their purpose is to be dyes, and you can't currently make dyes in the game, so they don't have a lot of purpose. So I think once we finally get that in. Should be laughing. Should be laughing. Oh.
Will you do any dresses longer than, is that knee length? Thigh length? I don't really know how long that is.
I guess this is, just it's probably knee length, I'd say. I think well, we could try it now. I'm just thinking I would like a teapot dress. I don't even know what that would look like.
Oh my gosh. Why? But I like it. Me and Chris are just here to be whimsical and silly. That is it. We want tin can phones and teapot dresses.
A dress that goes all the way down. I mean, this looks like a robe right now, doesn't it? I suppose it would be. Just got to block this out.
What if you made a...
Sorry, you go.
I was like, what if you made a floor-length dress that was just like an old potato sack?
Yeah, you could do. How big are potato sacks? I like to think the person is a reasonable size.
Maybe someone in the mountain needs like loads of potatoes at once, so you just have giant potato sacks.
Yeah. I haven't got a potato sack yet though, so maybe maybe that's one to get.
Chris says that is a funky looking teapot.
Oh, I don't know. This is what my teapots look like at home. This is the teapot dress, Chris. Don't worry.
What are you making your cups of tea with?
Yeah, what are you doing over there, Chris? Yeah, I need to do like because there's like onesies. I've drawn onesies. We've done that in the past, haven't we? And I'm wondering if like I need to do a bit of code that sort of tells like maybe certain items can't be worn with trousers because they kind of fill the trouser slot. Because would it be a bit weird if you put a? I mean, I know you could put a skirt on underneath this, but then it might clip, and you might get like a, if you put on a particularly, then it might look like that. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Gym clothes. I don't
think there's enough physical exercise.
What gym clothes would you have? Sure. Go for the puff. Not sure where I want to go with it. Maybe not. That looks like Samus. Go back to our pinafore. Wherever it is. I do have. There are some kind of. There's like certain shoes that are kind of sporty in the game. I quite like that sort of aesthetic of not modern gym clothes, but that kind of mid-century mid-century people exercising in the mid 20th century. 20th century. Where kind of everything, I mean, well, nylon didn't exist, so everything's still kind of cotton and things, but everybody's got kind of long socks and limp soles and things. I quite like that, which is kind of the era the game's set in. So there's a few things like that. Maybe it'd be fun to do a pair of like jogging shorts or something. Give me the long socks. Yeah, I need to think about how I'm going to do socks because I have done socks, but they've been part of the shoes. There isn't a dedicated sock slot. And I don't know if I have the technology to introduce it now. I think we're a bit too far gone. But I'll have a think.
The pinafore is looking cute. The pocket at the front looks so useful.
Looks helpful,
for storing all your tools.
All your tools. Your notes.
I'm wearing my dungarees right now, and my little pocket in front is just full of spades.
Full of spades?
Full of spades. Those are my only two. No, it's full of.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I did a double take then. I thought you'd been serious. Oh yeah, Alex was crocheting, but we can't see. I'm devastated. Have you been crocheting this whole time?
I have. Well, once I gave up on attempting to get back in, I've been crocheting this whole time. I've got like an arm. I've done about half an arm, half a sleeve. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, that counts. Well, since we started, or like total?
Yeah. But since we started.
Since we started, okay. That's cool. I have done knitting in the past. I think I've said this a million times, I think. But I was doing, when you knit panels to like and then eventually everybody puts them together and they become a blanket for the needy. I kind of did that whole thing. I did learn Brie. I couldn't do it now.
Aww.
But crocheting is harder, isn't it?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I'm finding it quite nice.
I know something because it's crocheting's the one where you just have one needle, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, just one hook, and then just pulling the yarn over itself. And different stitches and chains and whatnot. I don't know the lingo properly, but I am able to do it, and I am not the most, I'm not the best at fiddly things, so it's something.
I've done smartphone repairs in the past. I think that's the fiddliest thing I've ever done. When you're like, you got your phone in pieces and you're like, got a pair of tweezers to connect wires and things. I think I vouched. I've done it twice and I vouched I never want to do it again.
Just don't break your phone, I guess.
I was close to it with the famous black spot of death on my phone. I was close to having to do it again. But fortunately the black spot stopped growing, so wasn't necessary.
I remember doing soldering.
Oh yeah.
In like product design class as a kid. That was very fiddly, but I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I feel like at one point in my life I'm going to be soldering. It feels like the kind of thing I'm going to stumble into for some reason. I'm not sure why. It does kind of appeal. I remember I came close to it once, but you got to kind of buy everything, don't you? Which is why it wouldn't make sense to do it at school. Well, obviously you need a soldering gun.
I think they're too expensive.
I'm sure they're not. Let's have a look.
Quits game design, becomes solderer.
Yeah. I do want to, if things go quiet after the game comes out, I bought like I've got a big piece of rubber. I bought a big sheet of rubber wood. That's now next to me here. I don't know. Can I pick it up? Probably not. Just imagine a big board made of light wood. Because I was like, I want to sort of turn half my desk into like a workbench. I have no idea what I'm gonna start doing. I mean, I bought a load of, because I was doing. Can you see that little painting there? That's the one I did over. I did the oil painting over, and I bought a load of paints. I've been meaning to get back to it, but it's just been so busy. I did buy all the paints. I've got my linseed oil. I've got my. A funny story. I went to the art shop to get all my different paints, and I picked up. What did I pick up? You always get titanium white, right? Is that what Bob Ross uses? Titanium white. You get a big titanium white because you never have enough titanium white. Titanium white. I'm not sure what his other colours are. And then lemon yellow, burnt sienna. What's this one? Oh, Prussian blue for when you want like a dark blue. And then, famously, cerulean blue. Which, so I picked up this brand. So this costs like £4. No, I think like £6 for this tube. Maybe like £5, I don't know. And then I picked up the same brand of this, but in cerulean blue. And we went to the cashier. And it came to a lot more than I was anticipating, but I paid for it. And then I was walking out the shop, and I found out that the tube of cerulean blue for, what is this, 60ml was 64 quid. So this cost £6, and the other one, and the cerulean blue was 10 times as much. And I went back thinking it was a mistake, like they just plumbed it in wrong. But they were like, no, that's just like cerulean blue, just that's what it costs. Like if you're, because I think this brand kind of does the traditional way, and I think cerulean blue is like made from mined cobalt or something.
Oh wow.
Whereas I don't know how the others are made, but I guess much cheaper. So and then they were like, you could have our own brand cerulean blue, which is £4.50 or something. I was like, yeah, go on then, I'll have that.
Wow.
So be careful with your oils. But yeah.
That is terrifying.
So I mean, I almost didn't look at the receipt. I can't really afford £60 paints at the moment. I'm not going to lie. It was I was treating myself to the £6 paints. 64 quid is nuts. Yeah. It was just the way it ramped up so high. Lots of hobbies are expensive. I mean, I'm hoping I always like, if I do get into a hobby, I want to try and do it in the cheapest way possible. That's kind of always my Like, I mean, even with the garden path, I really only use so many colors, or you know, and so when you're doing paints, you only need really so many, and then you can just mix them all really. Obviously, you get certain hues and things, but if I can do everything in just like 4 colors, then I'll be happy. Oh, photography, yeah. I did a lot of. We had to do photography in my design course, and I vouched. Is that the word? I promised to myself. Avowed? Basically, I said I'm never doing photography. I have utmost respect for photographers, but I just can't do it. I have so much respect for people. The people who are good at photography, I have no idea how they do it. And Rachel used to do food photography, and yeah, there's just it's a whole world of lenses and things and cameras and you can very quickly rack it up. But Rachel would get all of her second hand, which made things a bit easier. I don't know. Is crocheting shouldn't be too expensive?
Oh, it depends on the yarn, I guess. But yeah. I think I'm much like you, and so I've nearly finished 2 pieces of clothing, and for that I bought 1 hook and 4 lots of yarn, and altogether it's been like £15. And I think I was looking at the stuff I'm making, and I'm like, I would pay £15 to own it.
Oh yeah.
So this is very good value for money, and it's just fun. It's nice. It is something that, like the games we were talking about earlier, when you say I'll do it for 5 minutes and then it's been an hour, it is a bit like that.
Yeah.
But at least it's not screen time.
No, and you can put other things on in the background, can't you?
I've watched a lot of New Girl.
Right, okay. Yeah, Rachel watched I've kind of there's a lot of shows I've seen because Rachel's watched all of it, and I've kind of been in the same room. I'm not sort of committed to it 100%. But yeah, we've done New Girl. How many seasons are there of New Girl? It felt like
there are 7.
7.
The last one's like a sort of pseudo series because it's a like the finale special thing.
Have you gotten to the bit with? Oh, have you seen all of it before?
Yeah, this is a rewatch.
It's the bit with. I mean, I'm a big fan of Prince. I didn't know it's in the show, but that's the best bit. Prince is just in it for no reason, and it was really
episode.
Really close to when he died. I think he died a few months later. Maybe they shot it quite a bit before.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he kind of seems a little bit out of it in the show. I mean, I know he's he was always a funny guy. He always struck me as quite serious. I'm surprised he was able to kind of make fun of himself a little bit in the show. I think we should, just to wrap up, try and get the camera on one last time to see your crochet progress.
I do not think that is going to work, unfortunately.
No.
But I can instead...
Oh, could you send me a...
I can send you a picture. I'll lay it out on my bed. It's going to look very odd because it just looks like a long piece of material. Because it's a shrug,
Oh yeah.
Shrugs.
Yeah.
So it's just very thin and very long. Where are you in my chat? There you are.
If anyone has any last questions in the chat, just fire away. We'll take a look at Alex's crochet work. It's almost unfair. I don't get the big reveal, but here we are. I think I've just been here.
I'm so sorry.
Showing everything. Everything I've been doing has just been on screen the whole time, but we haven't been able to see what Alex. Here we go. Oh, I like the dogs.
Thank you.
That's a good color combo. The yellow and the blue.
Yeah. The other thing I'm making is also yellow, so.
We've beheaded our character, but.
Oh no.
There we are. Let's put it. And that's a sleeve, is it?
So that's the bit that kind of extends to the right is the sleeve, and then where it gets a bit thinner is the top part where it's going around the neck. There's a neck hole there, I promise. And the other sleeve will come later.
Oh, amazing. What do you reckon if you had to put a percentage? How far along are you?
I'd say maybe 70%.
Okay.
Maybe?
Oh, sure. I can't quite visualize it.
Yeah,
But...
I'm pretty pleased with it. It's the first thing I've done as well. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that like the sort of the recommended thing to start with?
Oh no. I think you're meant to start with like a beanie.
With a beanie? Oh, okay, yeah.
I sort of thought, just I may as well go for it. Make something I actually want, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's important. Yeah, I mean, I suppose unless you have a friend who like would really appreciate lots of various crocheted things, you do end up with that if you have a friend who kind of has a crafty hobby. You start getting all their little bits. What do you reckon? Maybe it's too soon, but what would you make after this? Would you go for something? Challenge yourself even more.
Well, I think so. I made the shrug, and I'm about to finish a like mesh kind of crop top, like a tank top kind of thing. So I think I would make the same thing again, going between the blue yarn and the yellow yarn I have to make it a bit more colourful.
Yeah.
And I might do it in the pattern of this shrug. Then the other one has a slightly different stitch. This is more meshy, I guess. I don't really know what you call it.
Yeah. I know what you mean though. Yeah. It's all about getting
that's the goal.
Getting the stitches down. What it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I think we've done a pretty productive stream there. Not too bad.
Yeah.
I'll go over the. It's just Out From Carrot Cake with everything now, isn't it? It's easier than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Out From Carrot Cake. If you guys want to follow us, for Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. There's more. The TikTok. We've got TikTok. Alex, how's the TikTok going?
TikTok. And then obviously you can follow on Discord and wishlist on Discord. Nope, I meant Steam. I thought Steam, I said Discord.
There was a time when Discord had a little game store, wasn't there? It had a bunch of indie games in it.
Really?
Yeah, they were trying to be a game store.
I missed that.
Maybe like
That's quite
5 years ago or something. But anyway, yeah. So maybe one day you would have been able to. But no. But yes, it didn't last long. I recall. I think it was up for longer than you would think. I think because it kind of just faded into the background, and they were like, "Yeah, we've removed it." And it was like, oh, "Okay." I think everybody got a refund or something. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Or Steam keys.
Oh.
Don't need any more game stores out there. Itch and Steam do it for me. Yeah, for sure. And GOG as well, which does at least for. I'm a fan of those old games. Those old DOS games. I'd love to stream Dungeon Keeper. I feel like I would. It's like the one game I would stream. But maybe in another life, who knows? Cool. Next stream will be, unless I get struck by lightning, the 14th of March. It will be. I'll be here.
So far away.
I don't know. Will Alex be crocheting on stream? I'm not sure. Could be fun.
Maybe Chris.
Maybe Chris.
Chris will make it first.
Chris's debut. Chris's debut. I could raid someone. We've only done it once. We did that one time. Is there anyone I should raid? I've totally forgotten how to do it. Actually, I might not even remember. Do you do /raid and then I feel like
I
I'm gonna.
don't know.
I'm sorry.
This isn't my job.
I think I'm gonna. I think I might just. Unless you know how to do it, Slacks. Fern is the streamer native,
Mm-hmm.
and so. Do I just do /raid? Hang on, bear with me. Raid name. Okay,
raid.
cool. I'll do that then. Why not? Couldn't hurt. So we're going to go to.
Who are we raiding?
I'm not sure how to say the name. Would you say Riaze? Riaze? Is that they're currently working on? It's another game development, and they're working on. They're doing the Ludwig Jammer jam
cute.
game. They're working on it. They're working on a little game for a game jam. So we'll go over there. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Yeah, next stream on the 14th of March. Not sure what it'll be. Probably probably more artwork. Eventually we'll get. I think we'll do a little multiplayer stream. I think is in the pipeline, but I think we're still working towards it.
Ooh. That's exciting.
He's also working on a Tamagotchi clone recently. Oh, wicked. Here we go. Raid.
Ooh.
Did that work? Cool.
Cool.
And yeah, say hi on Discord. It's working. Okay, cool. All right, have a brilliant evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you might be. Take care, and hope to see everyone in the next stream. Thanks so much, guys. Bye bye.